very, very important part of the state.
He also said that APC members in the assembly in the state will not sit and watch the governor insult the president. Well, let's hear that.
As chairman of APC Rivers State, I won't sit down here to see the governor insult the president. The president is the leader of our own political party, and it will be stupidity on our part to sit down to see somebody way less than Mr. President insult Mr. President under our very nose. We won't sit here to see the governor declare on his own, as if it's a court, to declare assembly member seats vacant. It is also an absurd to see the governor begin to espouse impunity, intimidation on the people who are members of our political party, and we stand akimbo doing nothing.
All right, let's quickly get on out to my guest in the studio. I'm sure he has quite a lot to say in response to some of the things that were mentioned by Tony Okocha and other issues that have been raised with regards to the situation at the assembly and some comments made by the governor. I had to go back and listen to the whole, the governor's whole statement during the visit of the former governor of Bayelsa State to get into proper context, some of the things he was saying and all that he said. 08090306416 is the WhatsApp number, so please do well to send your thoughts in to us. But let me start with my guest, the Honorable Commissioner for Information. Mr. Johnson, you heard the APC Caretaker chairman. Let's start with your response to some of the things he said, and I'd like us to begin first with where he said that, hey, the party members have been directed and that they would face party discipline. And that the one of the reasons highlighted was that the implementation of the 8-point peace agreement. Do you think
the peace agreement is not a constitutional thing like the governor has said? It was just a political solution to a challenge that we had in the state. So I don't know how you can mix apple with mango. There are things that the law looks at when you talk about impeachment. That the governor had an agreement with a view to resolving the issue on hand. Then it's not anything that you can say, look, you want to invoke the powers of your party constitution on your party members to impeach the governor. I want to imagine that if that assembly is worth its onions, it should treat Tony's uncoordinated comments, as nothing to go home with. I know that the call is a wild goose chase, and I believe strongly that Rivers people, from the reactions I've heard, are on the side of the government. And if the records must be put straight, the governor respects Mr. President, and in all his comments, he has always maintained that he was merely doing the things captured in that proclamation for the respect he has for the government.
So where did the position of insulting the president come from?
There is no in this. You said you have listened to his the governor's comments. Yeah. There's nowhere the governor ever, in any attempt, tried to undermine the office of the president. The governor respects the office of the president and is a thoroughbred. There is somebody that you can from a distance you can even appreciate that is quite respectful. He is not very perfidious in his speeches. He talks with some element of respect. So for the office of the president, the governor never did. The governor also didn't say he does not recognize assembly. Assembly is a creation of the law. He said those young men,
the lawmakers,
those young men who parade themselves as lawmakers, I do not recognize them. They do not exist. They merely existed before I gave them a platform. And I did it in the interest of peace. But come to think of it, since these gentlemen came back from the 18th December we had with Mr. President, one of the first directives that was part of what you have on the 8-point agenda was go and withdraw all matters in court to the two parties. We came back, withdrew all on the part of government, including the then Speaker Edison Ehi resigning from the position of a speaker and also leaving the assembly. Isn't that enough sacrifice? On their own part, they went and procured a judgment from an Abuja High Court presided over by Learned Justice Omotosho. These were people who had to come back and withdraw all that was or that were hanging on their own part. They never did all that. And I'm sure you have heard their comments. You have watched their actions. If they are not repealing laws made by them, they are trying to introduce even the executive angle into the legislative job. So it's for the Rivers people to see who is actually stoking the embers of Wahala.
There's something you pointed out that I think is key, and I would like us to expand on it, where you said that we withdrew all cases that had to do with government.
Yes.
Does that mean that there were other cases in court that were not instituted by the government, and so you don't have powers?
There are plethora of cases, some filed by elders of the state, some filed by civil society organizations. There are cases on the legitimacy of this assembly. And this matter is already settled.
It has nothing to do with the government, so you can't withdraw those.
Not anything to do with government. The one filed by His Excellency Sasimala Fubara in one of the courts in Ishokbo was withdrawn. The ones filed in some state high courts here in Port Harcourt, and the ones even in Abuja. The one that they ambushed us when the governor had withdrawn our own defense, all that were put before the court, they had to pass judgment on a matter that had been withdrawn based on the directive of Mr. President. So you can see that there is a conspiracy of silence on the part of the people on the other side.
Because there's something that the governor also said, and I'd like you to perhaps make us understand. He said he had presented and submitted himself to every meeting for peace.
Yes.
He said, but every time he went and came out of those meetings and he completed the agreement, what he meant was, in his words, thunder or lightning from those people who also were in the agreement. What did he mean?
At least we appeared before Mr. President. We were there. That's the highest organ that we had appeared before. I mean, part of the process of reconciliation. We appeared before Mr. President. I just gave you, a compendium of what played out after we left Mr. President. Mr. President said, go and withdraw. We kept our own part of the bargain. We have continued to keep that part. They are not keeping to it. To the other elders of the state who may have also intervened, I'm sure that it's been all balderdash.
Because the governor rightly even said that similar situation could have happened in Bayelsa.
Yes.
Which is also my state.
Yes.
And at the time, we had elders, former presidents, and who stepped in, and at the end of the day, things were settled. Everybody decided to sheath their sword and make a compromise. Yes. And he said something striking where the governor said, we don't have leaders of that in Rivers State, because here in Rivers State, people were also called and tried to make peace, but nobody wants to listen. And even the leaders, he said, some of them have sold their conscience. Which leaders? Because we know that there are some leaders and elders who are in court and trying to make sure that these things are resolved. So can you explain what exactly is the position? Which leaders or who had tried to hold meetings? There are some who have said that the former president, Dr. Peter Odili, did not or should have brought both parties and tried to settle. He's only taking sides with the governor. Were there meetings that were organized to have both the FCT minister and the governor by former Governor Peter Odili to resolve these fracas?
I wouldn't know, because we're doing multi-level leadership. At the level that I operate, I will be able to talk. At least I was present in Abuja before Mr. President. And I'm aware also that it was televised that some elders also intervened on this matter, with the chairman of the Elders Council, with Alabraba, Chief Alabraba, and a few other elders have intervened at different levels. But it doesn't seem as if the thing is simmering, because the persons who claim to be holding the ace are the people that are stoking it. The governor has explained, has presented an attitude that gives strongest inclination that this governor is prepared for peace. He has said he was going to run with the 8 points agenda from the outset, and he's been able to keep to his word.
He said he's the one who is most affected.
Yes.
I'm trying to just elaborate what he said so you can perhaps give us proper perspective. He says he's the one most affected because he has all the powers to do whatever he wants, but he's trying to restrain himself from doing those, and he has to work with his enemies. And he even cited sabotage from the former Attorney General and also some of the commissioners he mentioned. He said, and I have to work with my enemies. A short break. We'll get your response after that. Still Morning Crossfire. I have the Commissioner for Information with us in the studio this morning. My name is Ifeemi Andrew, and on Facebook it is Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. On X, Nigeria Info PH. On YouTube, Nigeria Info PH. A very quick question on Facebook. If you log on, you'd find, how important is the position of Rivers people in the ongoing political drama? That's what I'll call it. The governor said there's no political crisis, but we know that. But he mentioned pressure. The political drama at the moment, the call for impeachment and all that we are seeing. How important is the position of Rivers people in all of this? Let us know what you think. How much say do they have in what is happening at the moment? We'll find out from you. But before we get onto the phone lines and get a response from my guest, let's also, from you, the listener, I will get back to my guest. Before the commercial, we were trying to talk about, okay, cases that have been withdrawn. And the governor saying he's most affected in all of this. Regardless of the powers he has, he's trying to show constraint and see that, okay, let us try and still make peace at the end of the day and resolve this. He also had said he subjected himself to various meetings. He even went on to say these people in the assembly must have been his friends way before he even thought of being governor or even started becoming the accountant general and all of that. Like, some of them have been to his house, ate in his houses. He even paid fees for their kids, trying to explain how close the relationship was with these people. And so he had thought that for the sake of relationship, even if we have political differences, whatever you want to do, you can do your political thing. But when we have things that concern Rivers people, you would know that this is for the purpose of Rivers people. Let's look at it. But then from his expressions, perhaps he was not happy with how they turned out. The question now is, after the meeting with the president and all that has happened so far, has there been any, on the part of the governor, let's say, to have some communication or a meeting with these lawmakers and perhaps even the council chairman to say, let's sit down on a round table, let's have a conversation. What is it that we should do? This is for Rivers people. How do we go forward? Has there been any of such meetings? Or it only basically has to happen if only the FCT minister is involved?
Well, let me say that the governor, if you watch events following after the 18th December peace accord, in all the activities that we have had, official engagements, we have still recognized Martins Amehule when the president said, let's return to status quo. Or we had the January 1 banquet. If you check that program, Amehule was there. All the overtures to get them to embrace peace. If you ask me, I would rather say that the people are a bit repulsive. Repulsive in the sense that when you advance, relationship is a two-way thing. You advance for that, this person comes and then you close up. You close up. But in this case, all the overtures by the governor had been rebuffed. And I'm saying that we have done all that the president had asked to be done, except to say that the governor has already said that he did it for the respect of the president. Otherwise, they're not constitutional things. They're all political things that Mr. President merely asked. But to accept back 9 commissioners that left is the greatest of them all, if you ask me. It's like a wife that divorces you on her own volition and then decides to walk back. I'm sure that if you must be a strong man to be able to receive such a person. But for you to have a commissioner or an attorney general of a state who ought to be the chief law officer of the state on the part of government and the people being counterproductive is the least.
Because the government mentioned sabotage.
Sabotage is when I'm going left. If you're Bayelsa, you paddle canoe. I'm the man at the
sitting at the back.
Yes, the man sitting at the back. I'm paddling for us to move forward. You're pulling me backward. So you can see that your presence is counterproductive. You rather put the paddle into the canoe or paddle alongside the direction that I'm facing. That's what the government meant about being saboteurs. So I want to believe strongly that we have paid enough price. And when the governor said he never recognized them, he merely allowed them for the sake of peace. That statement is heavy. If you look at section 109 of our constitution, I will read it to the hearing of our Rivers people. Section 109 1G of the 1999 constitution provides that a member of a house of assembly, they didn't say a governor, they didn't say a senator or house of reps, they say a member of a house of assembly shall vacate, when law says shall, is finality.
It doesn't need somebody to interpret.
It doesn't need interpretation.
Okay.
Shall vacate his seat. This is our own constitution, which is superior to the Electoral Act and all other laws, either made by an assembly or a national assembly. A member of the House of Assembly shall vacate his seat in the House if being a person whose election to the House of Assembly was sponsored by a political party, he becomes a member of another political party before the expiration of the period for which that house was elected. To this end, these people are not lawmakers anymore. This is the law. This is the constitution, which is our ground norm. So I can imagine how anybody expects a governor who, well, for the sake of oneness, let's go on. And rather than get the cooperation of the assembly, for which he has allowed a few things or bent the rule or looked the other way, what they have rather done, the 4 bills we sent to them on the 27th of October, those bills had something to do with humanity. They never touched any of it.
What were the bills?
We had a bill on the new Town Development Authority, which was going to replace the Greater Port Harcourt, so that we can expand, create model cities, and have more towns. To remove the one city syndrome of Port Harcourt. We have another one on youth empowerment. We intend to run an electricity outfit that will be able to develop an independent power system for the state. And then the other one was for businessmen who would come for ease of doing business. These were the bills that were before them. that those bills are still lying there. What they are rather doing is go back to the laws that they have already passed, begin to repeal them, and then trying to compel it on the governor to sign, rather than allow even the governor's veto or do whatever they intend to do. They have even assumed the position of executive. You recall that they did a bill recently which they had to themselves vetoed to appoint Rivers State House of Assembly Service Commission. They appointed, they screened, they swore them in. Is that what happens in democracy? Is that what you can get from somebody who is looking for peace? Your wife takes over the home, turns you to a houseboy, and then brings in another man and begins to reign over you. How would you feel if you were to be Governor Fubara? So those insults, I'm sure, that may have been what may have provoked this recent outburst. And I'm sure that anybody, even if you push a man to the wall, I'm sure it's bound to return.
All right. Well, we'll still get your response on what you think with the impeachment call from the APC chairman. I know you touched on some of the reasons he gave about insulting the governor, insulting the president, and he said that is never happening. The impeachment call at the moment, how would you respond to it?
If it's a house that knows its onions, you don't need an outsider to ask you to impeach if you're not a push around. So I can imagine that a governor expressed an opinion. Is that weighty enough to call for an impeachment? And if they have to impeach, must they be called to do that? I describe them as hired guns. These gentlemen are fine gentlemen, but they are acting on the prompting of somebody, an external force that's probably propelling what they are doing. They don't need to wait for anybody in the place of an acting caretaker chairman of a party that is in contention as to who leads them. I remember Chief Emeka Beke is there. Some days I hear Darlington Wuju coming to talk. At some point I see Chibiki Kenga. These are distractions that will tell you that the house is not, the party is not even together.
There are those that still say that the FCT minister is behind this, is behind pulling the strings for all we are seeing. And some even say he could be behind the current position of the APC at the moment. And many know that he's not an APC member. So when you have these speculations, it's confusing. Has there been any direct conversations ever again between the minister and the governor to resolve this political impasse that we are currently seeing?
Like I tell you, the governor operates at a level where, beyond where I know, but to say the least is to say that he may not have been making moves for peace to reign. Peace is an all-round thing, and I imagine that in the whole of his outings, I have never heard him deride the FCT minister.
I think I should put the question.
I've never heard him talk down on the FCT minister, and I will not come here and talk down on the FCT
No, but
minister.
I think I should put the question this way, because there are many who think, does the governor does he have his own demands to say, okay, for peace to reign, you want this, that. Me, self, I want this, that.
There is no negotiation that I can put a finger on, except to say that he's the governor of the state and he's at liberty. Like he said, he has the powers to do what the constitution expects a governor to do. But he's been a little bit restrained because he doesn't want to wield the big stick. Otherwise, he does not need to negotiate. He does not need anybody's power. The constitution already has vested the powers to govern the state in the way the constitution requires it to be governed. So he does not need anything to negotiate. He does not need to say, give me this and take that. No, he owns it all and is the governor of the state.
All right, so we'll take a few messages and then I'll come back to one more thing he said. I would not worship anyone. Yes, you might have helped me or have done good for me, but I cannot worship any man.
It's the language anybody can use. I can't even worship the governor.
No, which of course I also listen to. You can't worship any man.
He cannot worship anybody too. We're humans now. Before God, we're equals. Isn't it? So he says he will be answerable to his God. I will be answerable to my God. So if I come here and do the wrong thing, I'm not doing it because of the governor. I'm doing it for the God that I serve.
This message here says it's time for the governor to make use of instruments of law bestowed on him to quench the fire that is about to explode. The lawmakers know that it will be very difficult for them to impeach the governor months to their 1 year. in office. Ogene Frederick says the governor must go. Clever Sonny says, Honorable Commissioner, please inform governor to fear not because God and Rivers people are behind him.
Okay.
Oba Felix says the governor has come to stay. Ugochukwu says it doesn't matter who brings who to power, there must be a governor in a state.
Yes.
Please go to, okay, I think this is referring to somebody else. We'll open the phone lines and take some of the calls now. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, 0817-923-0007. You can call us on any of those numbers and join in on the conversation. The role of Rivers people in all of this, how important is it?
It's showing now the organic love expressed across we have done 22 local governments.
People
20 local governments.
You heard the APC Caretaker chairman say, spending 150 million on each local government.
That is smoke screen. He's trying to raise dust where there's none. The truth of the matter is that we, the indigenes of the state across different local governments, are funding the Thanksgiving service. He just did Thanksgiving two Sundays ago. I recall I saw something on social media. Tony, why do you thank God if you don't like Thanksgiving? Should you have been going to the shrine or to the Oboni? I don't know what they want.
There are those that think it's too long. Like the Supreme Court
the
victory is long
this
ago.
Word of God should not depart from our lips. That means we should say ceaselessly. He said we should pray ceaselessly. So if we thank God, I thank God. My pastor, well, with due respect to the Living Faith General Overseer, thanks every time you're with Pastor Oyedepo, you'll be hearing thank you, Jesus. Thank you. He has sat close to, I can't remember, I think it's Mark Monroe, may his soul rest in peace. And he said he listened to him. He said 73 times in 1 hour, thank you, Jesus. So the Bible says we should thank God in all things. Even when we have a bad situation, thank God.
All right.
So anybody who is opposed to thanking God, well, may have to settle.
All right, we'll open the phone lines. Just tell us your name, tell us where you're calling from, and then quickly get straight to the point. Nigerian, good morning. Unfortunately, we couldn't get that one. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. This one says, right, we can't get that one. Let's get onto the WhatsApp portal. The WhatsApp number is 0809-030-6416. 0809-030-6416 is the WhatsApp number. Emmanuel from Bori, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
All right, go ahead quickly.
Good morning to the Honorable Commissioner in the House.
Good morning, my brother.
Sorry, Andrew, each time I hear you say, asking whether the governor has heard from the Minister of the Territory, I get annoyed. Please, the governor is not accountable to one man. It is Rivers people that elected him.
And Emmanuel, I think you didn't hear correctly as well. I did not say the governor has heard from. I said, has there been any other meetings between the governor and the FCT minister?
Sorry, in all your programs, you have been saying so. So I just want you to know that the governor is not accountable to one man.
Emmanuel,
it is Rivers people that elected him.
Thank you very much. We get your point, but I think you're very much not correct with your assertions. You cannot say that I've said that in all my programs because then I do not talk about that every single time. And perhaps it's how you're choosing to perceive it at the moment. The question asked was, since the last meeting with the president, has there been any other meetings or conversations between the governor and the FCT minister? It does not matter one man or anybody. The governor is the governor. If he wants to hold a meeting with anybody for whatever reason, he's entitled to do that. It does not remove the fact that he is the governor. Yes. So let's note. And then the question we're asking is very simple. We've heard the conversation, but even more important is the role of Rivers people in this situation. What role do you think Rivers people would play in the political drama that we have in Rivers State at the moment? Give from Yenegua, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew, my brother.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good morning to your guest, to the Honorable Commissioner.
Good morning.
Mr. Johnson.
Good morning.
Good morning,
sir. Good morning, my brother.
Andrew, let me ask the Honorable Commissioner, The reason for that is peace. Talking about fighting with the blood of Rivers people. Because I went through that piece and I saw that very thing. A non-existing house, lawmakers who don't have any stand, you want to use your blood, or you are urging Rivers people to use their blood to resist. Can you put something on nothing? Why are we deceiving ourselves most times? This is my worry with us at times. You have used the word that these people are non-existent. They are not existing anywhere. But you want to now use your blood to resist them. And that word, Rivers people use their blood to resist. Are you not calling for anarchy and violence? And you are using the word that you took award, the governor from Saver Bed, man of peace in the year 2023 or 2025, I don't know. The truth of the matter, the house, you're a lawyer, let me put it to you, whether you want to hear it or not, they are existing, they are legit, and they will remain that way because why? You are not the law court, the governor is not the law court, you are not even a king or a paramount ruler or a dictator that will use the word that these house members are not existing. There is no way, no room for that.
All right.
Gift,
thank you.
Do otherwise. Thank you.
You know the good thing about the animal kingdom is that even, when some people describe Nigeria as a zoo, I'm usually objective to it. The reason being that if you go to the zoo, you won't find a lion put together with a goat. It means that the zoo is also well organized. In the animal kingdom, they respect themselves too. The only binding thing for human beings is the law, which is the constitution of every country. The Constitution of America is the highest authority on earth that binds all Americans. And here in Nigeria, our own constitution is our ground norm. It clearly stated, just like what I have read, that to be a member of a House of Assembly, it didn't say Senate. I've heard people refer to, David Umahi, the current Minister for Works, that he defected and he didn't lose his seat. It does not apply to governors. It applies to House of Assembly. So let's not mix apple with mango. Gift, my brother. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria clearly states it, and it cannot be controverted.
All right.
Yes, so let him not think that, when the governor made such a statement, and I never heard the word blood. Nobody used the blood. We didn't use nobody said we'll use the blood of Rivers. There's nothing like that. Let us say it the way it is.
Smith from Mungpolu, good morning. Samuel from Mungpolu. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Morning.
I was listening keenly and I heard him say Governor had done everything that was marked in the 8-point peace, agenda that the president put out, and that he did it because of respect for the president. But I beg to differ. He shouldn't try to deceive Rivers people. Out of those 8 points, there are 2 that the governor has blatantly refused.
Which one?
To deal with.
Which are the 2, please?
The representation of budget to the Martin Imehuli led House of Assembly. The governor has blatantly refused to do that. He has refused to do it.
Which is the second one?
Of which is the election of the council chairman and councillors. Their tenure is supposed to expire in June. And from what the law says, it says they are supposed to have an election at least 90 days before the expiration of their tenure. But the governor, for whatever reason, kept delaying it. He refused to say anything about it. He kept saying, your guest keeps saying, we'll do it. And this is less than 30 days.
All right, Samuel.
The expression of their
I guess to respond, but only Commissioner,
what do you
just
expect the person to think? What do you expect? You're telling us you expect the president? How do you do that? You should stop being deceitful.
all right. Thank you, Samuel, for your contribution. We'll get a response. Let's just hear from Muriel and Hector, and then we get on. Muriel from Akreka, good morning.
Hi, Femi, good morning.
Yes, quickly, straight to the point, Muriel.
Woman. Look, Femi, firstly, I want to thank the governor for his disposition in all these matters. You know, he has handled it so maturely and so respectfully. And I say thank you to him. And I believe majority, Femi, the vast majority of Rivers people are with him. I want to encourage the governor, Femi, to continue in this step. The statement he made day before yesterday was the kind of statement his supporters are expecting him to make. Now, Femi, the president cannot come and tell me that because you're uncomfortable with what the governor said, that now because you're uncomfortable, the governor to be impeached. How do you say that to Rivers, the entire Rivers people? So this said, as lawmakers are now the boys, are you thinking that your boys, that you will stop them if they don't impeach the governor because you're uncomfortable with me? This is so wrong. And it's so hypocritical for the president to say the governor is the president is disrespectful to the president. It's so hypocritical for him to say that. Because when the lawmakers are going about vetoing the governors, are going about overturning his decisions, nobody calls them to order. The ministers and Abisa is asking to order, and your question did not call them to order. They can't do whatever they like. So when the governor now said they are non-existent, you come out and say they should impeach him. So are they existent in the first place? So we are waiting now. Everybody is waiting for the court for a judge to come out and overrule the constitution. If the constitution not say if they leave the party, they are not lawmakers. So we are waiting for one judge to come and override the entire constitution. And I believe the way the government is right, and every people talking to
all right. Okay, Muriel.
That they should take the governor of all the local governments just to demonstrate this procedure. That is what I'm unacceptable that it should not happen.
All right, thank you. Let's hear from Hector quickly from the Bogoro. Hector, good morning.
Good morning, Africans. Good morning,
all right, straight to the point, please.
Good morning.
As far as there is no court pronouncement on the status of the assembly, embattled assembly members, I think whatever decision they are making remain valid until the court make pronouncement. Then the question now I want to ask: the governor, according to him, the embattled members of the assembly does not exist. Now, if the members of the assembly does not exist, why is the governor still paying their allowances, their entitlement, and their salaries? Second question goes to the assembly members, the embattled assembly members. Because we are insisting that the governor has not also presented the appropriation budget, the 2024 budget. Now, the governor has not presented his budget to them. Yet, the Martin and no-willing-head assembly members are still taking salaries, entitlement, and allowances from this same budget. Why are they taking, entitlement, their salaries from the same budget that is not presented to the assembly?
All right, Hector. Thank you. I think he went two ways with it, tried to make the point from two perspectives.
I like that.
And quite balanced. But let's get your response quickly before we go on a commercial.
One of the speakers who said that the governor had not fulfilled two, will not be up to date with what's going on. The governor, when we went to Mr. President, the apprehension from the first day this trouble began, the fears, first, if you recall, the social media had it that the governor had removed the chief judge and had dissolved or was going to dissolve local governments. And that had been the fear. I came on air to refute it, to say that the governor had not such intention. Now, when we went to Abuja in December, one of the items on that 8-point proclamation was that there shall be no caretaker. That is to say, there shouldn't be premature dissolution of the council. there should not be premature dissolution of the council. The councils have at least 1 month to go. From December till now, it's like 5 months. Nobody had been removed. There's not been any form of threat to any local government chairman.
Okay, so the agreement was not that you must conduct council elections.
No. They didn't say you must conduct council elections. They said
I want it, because he said this. Yes, I want him to understand that.
There shall be no premature dissolution of council.
Madam, you don't try this new lush hair 4-in-1 no lie relaxer kit. We get free neutralizer.
Info, we're wrapping things up. My guest is the Commissioner for Information, Joe Johnson. My name is Ifeemi Andrew. Quickly, we get back to you, sir. So you were trying to clarify the caller who was talking about the demands from the agreement that's not been signed, and you were making corrections about the what he presumed was an agreement for the conduct of local government elections. So if you can just conclude with that.
No, I said that what that agreement had is that there shall not be premature dissolution. That is, don't abort the regime of local government chairman. He didn't say go and conduct local government election. There's nothing had anything to do with the election. He just said don't abort. That means allow the tenure. When you do abortion, it's removing something before its due date. And the governor, I'm not seeing any sign that he intends to remove any council chairman. So the issue of caretaker and local government and all that is out of it. The governor never had such intention. It was part of what was rumored just at the outset of that wahala.
Okay, and then there was also the talks of the other caller who says, well, why are the lawmakers still receiving their salaries if all, and the governor is now saying that it doesn't.
It tells you that they're operating double standards. If they recall, there was a time we had the factional house where Edison Ehie presided over as speaker, and he was recognized by Justice Dana Gogo. He went to court, and the court recognized him. It was on the strength of that that budget was presented to that house and it was an act. So I don't know how we can re-represent. I don't know how.
So
the law, if the court says Ifeanyi Andrew is now the new commissioner for information, who is Joe Johnson? Who am I to object or disagree with the court?
So in other words, that's one thing in the agreement that has not been honored.
It's been honored before. It was. We had already passed the budget before we went to Abuja to see Mr. President.
Okay.
So which budget are we representing again? That's the question.
Did the agreement ask that the budget be represented?
But you cannot override the constitution now.
Okay, so that means that's the one thing that
for clarity. I'm saying that budget became an act, and you cannot put an act on an act.
Okay. Well said. Thank you very much. We have to wrap it up now for the news at 9, and Hello Port Harcourt follows after next. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Rivers people, and to say that that call by Tony Okocha is an invitation for anarchy.
All right. Thank you.